everybody, Zombie Firearms Instructor here. So I'm doing, by the way, I'm doing the video inside today because it's super freaking cold out in the shop. So yeah, you get to look at my bedroom wall. So we're doing the show today on what Alec Baldwin did an interview with George Stephanopoulos, not whatever, and basically he said some things that he could be held criminally liable for. In my opinion. We'll see later. But anyway, I'm going to show you some clips of what he said to Georgie Boy. And then we're going to talk over the mechanics of what he said and see if what he's saying is plausible given the Colt 1873 Colt firearm. We're going to see if that's possible. So let's take a look at what old Alec had to say to Georgie Boy.
And I would then draw the gun, cross-draw out of my holster, pull the gun up like that, and start to cock the pistol cut. I'm handed a gun, and someone declares, they said, this is a cold gun.
Dave Halls?
The first AD. In my years on the sets of film, hot gun meant that there was a charge in there, and cold gun meant there was nothing in there. When he's saying this is a cold gun, what he's saying to everybody on the set is, you can relax. The gun is empty.
That's what cold gun means.
Well, cold gun means there's no charge in there. There could be dummy rounds.
A dummy round looks like a real bullet, but is completely inert. It contains no explosive charge.
And you were rehearsing that scene. Was it an actual rehearsal? There's some disagreement about that, whether it was a formal rehearsal at that time.
This is a marking rehearsal where I'm going to show her. She's standing next to the camera. She's like this. You're me. She's got a monitor here. The camera is here filming that way. She takes a monitor that is his monitor, the operator, and turns it toward her. It swivels, and she says to me, hold the gun lower. Go to your right. Okay, right there. All right, do that. Now show it a little bit lower. And she's getting me to position the gun. Everything is in her direction. She's guiding me through how she wants me to hold the gun for this angle. And I draw the gun out and I find a mark, I draw the gun out, I find a cut. And what's really urgent is the gun wasn't meant to be fired in that angle.
So if you're shooting directly into the camera lens, you're not aiming?
I'm not shooting into the camera lens. I'm shooting just off.
Just off?
Right, in her direction. I'm holding the gun where she told me to hold it, which ended up being aimed right in below her armpit, was what I was told, I don't know. This was a completely incidental shot, an angle that may not have ended up in the film at all. But we kept doing this, and so then I said to her, now in this scene, I'm gonna cock the gun. And I said, do you wanna see that? And she said, yes. So I take the gun and I start to cock the gun. I'm not gonna pull the trigger. I said, do you see that? She goes, well, just cheat it down and tilt it down a little bit like that. And I cock the gun, I go, can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? And she says, and then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off. I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
At the moment, the decisive
That was the moment
moment
the gun went off, yeah. That was the moment the gun went off.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never. Never. That was the training that I had. You don't point a gun at me and pull the trigger.
All right, everybody. So we saw in that interview there, Alec said that he never touched the trigger. Okay? He said he touched the trigger guard, but he was manipulating the hammer. Okay? So let's take a look-see at how the hammer works on one of these Colts. All right? Now, I'll full disclosure. This is a more modern firearm, so it does have a safety here, which I disengaged. So it'll act just like an actual 1873 was, but if you do see this right here, that is a modern improvement. All right, so let's see. He says he was right here, right? All right, so he pulls back one. That's going to be your safety cock. Then he went to half cock. That's where you do reloading. And he pulled the hammer back, and he said when you let it go, it went forward. Okay, so let's see if that works. What if he maybe grabbed the trigger, and he thought he was grabbing the trigger guard, but he grabbed this? Oh. Well, okay, let's say he went like this. He went to half cock, then he went to go to full cock, but he let the hammer go. No, because it just goes back to half cock. Huh. Weird. That's kind of weird, isn't it? So if you go like that, nothing happens. Even if you let go of the hammer before you reach that last step. See? It will not make contact with the firing pin. But if you go like this, but you know what? Maybe that's just this one. Maybe that's this one. So let's try one that's an actual replica, like with none of the safety features, and let's see if that one acts differently. So this is more accurate to what he was using. This is a Colt 45 Ruger New Vaquero. So let's give it a shot. Let's go like this. Okay. All right. Nothing there. So let's try this. Ooh. Ooh. So, in my opinion, what happened here is maybe I'm pretty sure Alec Baldwin didn't intend to shoot these people. I don't see why he'd want to screw his whole career up. I don't think it was an intentional act. But when you see what he's saying about, oh, it was on the trigger guard, pulling the hammer back, that dog doesn't hunt when you know how these firearms operate. So the more likely answer is he was pulling the trigger, went back, and let the hammer go forward. Boom. Now the bigger question is, why was there a live round in that firearm? That one I can't answer. I can tell you that, in my opinion, every single person that handled that firearm up until the moment that it shot and killed one person and injured another, every single person who touched that should have checked that firearm and made sure there was no live rounds in there. I don't know what happened with that, but I do know that Alec Baldwin's story about putting his finger on the trigger guard and pulling the hammer back and it magically went off, that dog ain't gonna hunt. And I'm sure the firearm is going to be checked and they're going to tear it apart and see if it actually functions the way it's supposed to or if there was some kind of mechanical defect. But barring that, the only way I can see a firearm like this going off is if that trigger was actuated. So that's it for that. I also have to say, I really think it was a bad idea for Alec Baldwin to do an interview about this, especially while there's a criminal investigation going on. I do not think that's going to work out in his favor, and I think that's why he deleted his Twitter account immediately afterwards. Things are getting pretty bad for the Alec boy. Now, this is a guy who hates the Second Amendment. He has done nothing but talk crap about people like me who are big proponents of the Second Amendment. And when people have an attitude like that, it breeds contempt for firearms and contempt for firearms training or anything about that. And, they just think, oh, dumb Hicks used those so I can figure it out. That's the way that these people think. And you see what the end result is. It's a disrespect for firearm safety rules, and the end result is a dead young lady and an injured young man. All because of Alec Baldwin and many other people in that chain's lack of knowledge of firearms and firearm safety. So, we'll see what happens, but I'll tell you what, I think Alec Baldwin is going to come to rue the day he did the old interview with Georgie Boy.